Welcome to the Eversio Experience podcast. I'm Brandi Garden, the co-founder here at Eversio Wellness, and I'm here with my co-host, Dr. Desiree Caruso, naturopathic physician.
Mushrooms are symbols of interconnectedness, and we're so excited to connect you with the health, wellness, and wisdom that they have brought us on our journey to this moment. We believe mushrooms are critical to the maintenance of our physical well-being and our collective mental health.
Yes, our ancestors had deep cultural connections to mushrooms, but today they remain understudied, undervalued, and often misunderstood by much of modern society, and we are here to change that. Eversio means change, and it's our mission to change lives through fungi.
There's a mushroom for every moment.
And we're so glad that you're here to share this moment with us. And now, let's dive into the episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Eversio Experience podcast. I am Brandi Garden, the co-founder of Eversio Wellness, and I'm here with my fabulous co-pilot, Dr. Desiree Caruso, naturopathic physician. Hi, Dr. Des.
Hello.
We are here today to redo a topic that really went super viral for us just over a year ago, I'm going to say, and it is the topic of cyclical living. And, here we are coming into the fall, and I think it's such an appropriate time for us to revisit it, especially because we have since launched 2 new products. And so many people in our Eversio community, all of you out there in our audience, have had so much success with cyclical living as part of your wellness lifestyle that we thought we better redo this and show you just how much more you're going to love it with the new products that we have to share with you today. So let's dive right in. I think it's really important for us to go back and remind ourselves that mushrooms are not new. Although some people feel that they are trendy and that they are, here to kind of, be this new thing for people to try. They're not new. Mushrooms have been around for thousands and thousands of years. And I love the quote by Hippocrates, "Let food be thy medicine and let thy medicine be food." And I might be biased, but I full on believe he was talking about mushrooms. He was talking about fungi because we know that in the ancient world, we see them in carvings, we see them in stone, we see them in the ancient texts. They were around, and we know that our distant ancestors interacted with them. We know that they did because they left proof of it. So it is no wonder that over time, we humans have been able to detect and have continued to develop receptors all throughout our body that detect the presence of and benefit from fungi. So I love that cyclical living really brings us back to our roots, brings us back to ourselves. And if we fast forward to modern times, when I searched online today, if you go on PubMed and do a quick search, type into the search bar medicinal mushrooms. When I did that today, I got over 7,000 papers on medicinal mushrooms. So when people say, well, there's no research, there's no good research, 7,000 papers isn't no research. There's so much evidence out there. And today we know that there are over 40 clinical trial supported indications referenced in those 7,000 papers on medicinal mushrooms. And this goes from things like athletic performance, allergies, anxiety, all the way through to hypertension, metabolic syndrome, and all the way down to things like sleep disorders, respiratory tract infections, all through the alphabet. We've got so much evidence, so much research, so much beautiful support for allowing the kingdom fungi into our lives. So a couple of years ago, Dr. Desiree and I were doing the 75 hard challenge, actually. And we had made some lifestyle changes as part of that. And we were really starting to play with cyclical living in our workouts. And that really looked like wherever we were in our phases. For me, I'm not bleeding anymore, so I'm following the moon phases. Dr. Desiree was following her menstrual cycle. That's what determined how we were working out those days. It wasn't always doing, intense weights or cardio. Some days we did yoga. Some days we went for a walk, really following that. And we were eating differently as well based on where we were. And I looked at her one day in the office at Eversio HQ and said, why aren't we changing up our mushrooms? Because we both love what we love, right? What were you taking at that time? What was your go-to everyday mushroom protocol?
Ooh, I think I was taking 3 mushroom blend. I was taking lion's mane and reishi at night.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's the standard, right? That's the starter set.
Yes.
So many of us get caught up in our routine. And when something works, we don't want to give it up. And I know for sure reishi was something that neither of us wanted to give up taking at night. But if we were honoring cyclical living truly, we would be changing things based on that season, that phase, that stage of our life. So we decided to start our own little trial, just the two of us, an N of two, and bring mushrooms into cyclical living. And honestly, when I said it to you and you looked at me like, well, where's the research on it? You had to go and start looking because it didn't really exist. How do you incorporate mushrooms into cyclical living? And when I thought, why isn't it out there? We realized most mushroom companies are owned by men. And there's just wasn't a lot of interest into doing it. So I kind of left it with you, and I'm going to leave it to you now to kind of introduce our community out there to how mushrooms can help you on a cyclical living journey. So take it away, Dr. Des. Tell us what we're in for.
Well, I mean, cyclical living, like you mentioned, Brandi, I mean, we were doing it for working out, we were doing it for nutrition, and, there are certain elements even from clinical practice as an ND that, we kind of brought in and intertwined with functional mushrooms. Like if you think of seed cycling, for example,
Right.
if you're a menstruating female, incorporating different seeds at different times of your cycle to help support certain hormones and certain pathways within your body for optimal balance. And so mushroom wellness as part of cyclical living, it really aligns everything and all aspects of your life. So aligning the way that you eat, the way that you exercise, your rest, and the supplements to match your menstrual cycle phase or the lunar cycle phase or the season that you're in for better hormone balance. So this isn't just for women. This can also be for men too. Now, they might not be following that menstrual cycle, but they might be following the seasons or going along, with the women in their life. So it's not exclusive for women. And really at the root of cyclical living, it's this opportunity to create adaptability. And really that allows us to ebb and flow with life instead of against it. And we really find, it's this approach to living in harmony with ourselves and nature. And those of you who are listening who have done this with their workouts before know that you just feel so in tune. I think harmony is a great word. Like you are in rhythm. I know that was something you and I, Brandi, noticed when we were
Yes.
doing it. Like we didn't want to give up certain mushrooms throughout the cycle as we're changing from set to set that we'll go into, but you feel in rhythm.
You do. And it makes so much sense. Nothing in nature blooms all year round.
Yeah.
Right. And I think we are nature. We can't be expecting ourselves to bloom all year round either and pushing ourselves to be that same person. We're not just small men who we know they're going through their hormone cycle every 24 hours. And I think we really live in a society where the expectation is that we just live that same way.
Yeah.
And the minute you and I recognized we aren't that and gave ourselves permission to kind of flow into this new harmony, I had no idea how great it could feel.
Yeah. Yeah. It really was amazing. And to be honest, it blew my mind. I was pleasantly surprised with how awesome it made me feel. And so really this is the, 4-week approach to life as in this cycle. And moving through this 4 weeks allows anyone really to focus on this larger biological rhythm rather than just a circadian rhythm, which is a 24-hour cycle that we've always known, right? Daylight, a new day, 24 hours in our work schedule and everything, right? It's on this circadian rhythm. And so it really recognizes the seasons, winter, spring, summer, and autumn within our months and within our body. And it offers this rhythm and energy, and it's more connected to the way that our ancestors live. And I see this a lot in the wellness space and just today in general. A lot of us are really going back to certain practices that made us feel more connected to the earth. And the lunar cycle is another thing too. Using the lunar cycle with cyclical living can help as a guide so you can follow that moon cycle. So
Absolutely.
there's this OB-GYN, her name is Dr. Allison Devine, and she says, and I quote, "There is plenty of data to support the powerful effects that the two main hormones of menstruation, like estrogen and progesterone, have on our neurochemistry. Unfortunately, historically, most articles on this subject have focused on the negative effects of imbalances in these hormones rather than the potential benefits that can be harnessed when the effects of these hormones are better understood. The reality is that our current medical standard is to suppress a woman's natural cycle at the first sign of imbalance using synthetic hormones rather than educating women on the importance of diet and exercise and stress management to help promote improved hormonal balance, which can then allow them to take advantage of the varying strengths that they will experience as their natural cycle progresses. End
Oh,
quote.
I love that so much. I love that. Why we're missing out on the amazingness of the human body when we stop it from going through what it's meant to go through, right? If you're not ovulating, going through that stage, I had forgotten back then what it felt like to have that, everything felt juicy, everything felt elevated at that time. And when we suppress that so that we're just doing one thing all the time, I think we're missing out on what it really means to be a woman. So I love that quote from Dr. Divine. So let's dive in. Let's dive in.
Hmm. I think the biggest thing to note is that as women, we're following this hormonal hierarchy, and you could even say this for men as well. A hormonal hierarchy. We're at the bottom. The foundations for healthy sex hormones is oxytocin, insulin, and cortisol. So we've heard of insulin resistance. We've heard of cortisol, which is our stress hormone, and these are really important that they are managed and you are metabolically flexible so that your body has this stable foundation so that it feels safe enough to produce optimal levels of our sex hormones. So if we think of the top tier as well, there's estrogen, testosterone, progesterone, melatonin and thyroid hormones. And these ones, like I mentioned, are really strongly influenced by insulin because when insulin goes up and it can get out of balance, that's when our body is thinking, whoop, like I'm, insulin and cortisol, the stress hormone and things are all off balance. Our body's not thinking, I want to reproduce. Our body's thinking survival, right? Survival and stress and managing that.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, if this is a refresher, insulin is an essential hormone that's produced by the pancreas. And its main role is to control glucose levels within our bodies. And it's strongly influenced by cortisol, which is the stress hormone. So when stress goes up, we can become more insulin resistant, especially when our nutrition is not dialed in and we're eating a lot of refined carbohydrates and certain things. But it can put us more towards that picture of, okay, I could be more at risk for that. And above cortisol is the best hormone on the planet that Brandi says, which is oxytocin.
Oxytocin. We're getting it right now. Every time we're in the screen together and sharing with you out in our audience, we hope you're getting it too. But you just have to connect and get in a good conversation and you're getting the oxytocin. It's my favorite hormone.
It is. And you can think of holding a baby, that's when oxytocin's released, or giving a really long hug to a friend or a loved one. That's when oxytocin is released. And it's, like the love hormone. And when you're getting more oxytocin, you're bringing cortisol down. And the only way to get oxytocin, like I mentioned, it's connection to other people, hugging other people, and just basking in that energy of shared connection with others. So the main takeaway here, when you bring cortisol down, you become more insulin sensitive, so managing stress. And when you become more insulin sensitive, you can balance your sex hormones and have more optimal levels. So another key takeaway here, our hormones are so intricately connected in this delicate system, and they really work best in balance with one another.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so are you ready, people? We're going to tell you now that you know why you want to maybe incorporate cyclical living into your life. If you are someone who's feeling out of balance really in any way, particularly hormone balance, and now you see why it's so important to get those foundational hormones in balance, it's going to change your life. Here's the how-to, which I think is missing so often. Yeah, I love that idea, but what do I do?
Yeah.
And what a gift you are getting today, because Dr. Desiree is going to walk you through a step-by-step morning, afternoon, evening protocol for each of the weeks we just talked about. So she's going to dive into week 1 right now. Get your pen and paper out because this is detailed, and we're going to talk about mushrooms you can use. We're going to talk about food. We're going to talk about movement. We'll touch a bit on seed cycling as well. But here we go. Tell us about week 1.
So as I mentioned, we've broken it down into 4 different weeks: week 1, 2, 3, 4. So week 1, we think of the rejuvenate set. So in terms of season, this is our winter season. For the new moon, this is for the lunar cycle, this is the new moon. And for our menstrual cycle, this is the menstrual phase when we're bleeding. So we can think of this is a time to really go within, right? It's winter, we want to hibernate, and three terms that you can think of is release, rest, and receive.
Mm.
So this set is composed of turkey tail, it's composed of our 5 mushroom blend, and it's composed of reishi capsules. So really, we've crafted this unique formulation for morning, afternoon, and evening. So in the morning, you're starting your day with turkey tail extract capsules, and really you're supporting your immune system function and optimal gut health. So anyone knows that when you are menstruating, you are more likely to get sick, right? It's no coincidence that we, as women, tend to get more sick with
Hmm.
a cold, a flu, feeling run down during this time because it's meant for us to rest. And it's hard to get proper rest when you're feeling sick or when your gut is out of whack. Sometimes, our bowel movements can change and we can have a different amount of regularity in that sense because when we are bleeding, there's more inflammation in that area. So if we
Yeah.
can support our gut with that fiber and prebiotic support from the turkey tail, as well as the immunomodulating activity of it, it can really help us as women during this time. And for those who even notice that they have an autoimmune flare
Yeah.
at this time
Yeah.
because of the lowering of hormones during the menstrual phase. Then
Yeah.
in the afternoon, sometime during the day, you can add half of a teaspoon of the 5 mushroom blend to anything you like. It can be your coffee, tea, cocoa, matcha, smoothie, oatmeal, anything. And this
Today it went in my matcha. I'm having it right here. This is me.
it was in my coffee this morning. So
Yeah.
this blend is high in ergothioneine, and it offers this antioxidant activity for the body and the brain, but also supporting hormone and metabolic balance because of the functional mushrooms that are in there. It's got that reishi for calming. It's got that cordyceps for the energy in the afternoon and the clarity. It's got lion's mane in there to support the brain. Maitake for optimal immune support as well as hormone support and metabolic support. And then having that tremolite in there to support skin, because I know for us, sometimes their skin doesn't feel like it's glowing when we are
Hmm.
menstruating. So allowing that for us to rest. And then in the evening, after your evening meal, you can take reishi capsules really to helping the nervous system unwind, preparing for sleep and really for resting, because this is the time to really rest and nurture yourself.
I love it. I love it. So, turkey tail in the morning, 5 mushroom blends sometime in the afternoon, reishi before bed. And I'm just going to talk to the men out there who might be listening, going, well, I'm not a menstruating woman, so I'm shutting this off. Do not. If you are a man and thinking, well, I want to take different mushrooms at different times, this could be what you do all winter long. So, we
Mhm.
talk about winter in the body, and you have to think for women, we have a 28-day cycle, you have a 24-hour cycle. So for us, stretching it out over the month makes a lot of sense because our month looks so different. But if you are a man listening and you want to change it up, in nature, winter is the time to go inward. It is rest. It is a time to conserve energy, no matter your gender, no matter your sex, no matter if you're animal, human, plant. We see this happening in Mother Nature. So I think this is just this time to really think about slowing down, reflection, and giving yourself permission to rest during this phase.
Totally. And for seed cycling, I mean, seed cycling typically is, split into 2 different phases throughout the month. So days 1 to 14 with seed cycling, this is where you can incorporate freshly ground flax seeds and pumpkin seeds really to help nourish the body with certain fats for optimal hormone production to help increase estrogen levels. Because after you're finished your menstrual phase, that's where estrogen is going to rise. When we're thinking of movement, I mean, hormones are at their lowest level, so focusing on rest, and we're not doing boot camps or we're not doing HIIT workouts. Think of this like light yoga. You can do some light weights, walking, stretching, really connecting within to the divine feminine, but also to your body and
Yeah.
movement. It doesn't have to be anything crazy with working out.
All right.
Thinking
What about nutrition? This was the hardest part for me was changing what I eat because kind of have my favorites. And I love to eat a lot of plants anyway. And I get in a habit of just, whatever I'm into at the time, roasting up big sheets of root veggies, but that would go on and on. So when we started to change our nutrition, this was a challenge for me. So in this first week, this winter phase, this new moon, what are we eating?
So we can eat things that are mineral-rich foods that are high in fiber and antioxidants. So thinking of warm water with lemon,
Hmm.
thinking of like you're in winter, you don't want to eat cold salads. You want warm cooked meals. So soups and stews, they're easy to digest. Sweet potatoes, kale, kidney beans, mushrooms,
Hmm.
beets, having good fats, high quality proteins, having a lot of berries in there for antioxidants and herbal teas. So low glycemic index rich foods, less processed sugars, processed carbs, those types of things.
Yeah, and I think this is the time too when, if you're somebody that does enjoy coffee, if you do enjoy that glass of wine, being mindful that you don't have to stop, but you might feel more affected by things like alcohol and caffeine during this time. So just being mindful of how that feels for you. And you might want to take a break for a week. If you're really struggling through this phase and you want to support, a lot of people will say this is the time to just avoid it for a bit, see how you feel, or reduce.
Okay, before we jump back in, can we have a little moment to talk about something that we're so excited about? Because if you've been wanting to start your mushroom wellness journey, or if you're thinking about gifting it to someone you love, this is literally the easiest and the cutest way to do it.
Yes, we have finally put together our curated mushroom sets, and they're honestly one of my favorite things on the website. Each set is bundled in a beautiful gift-ready box, and they're designed for people who honestly don't know where to start.
Right? Because not everyone knows the difference between a calming blend, an energizing blend, or an all in one blend. And that's really the magic of these sets. We've created them around real life personas so that you can instantly find the vibe that you or your person needs.
And they make incredible holiday gifts. I mean, wellness gifts just hit differently, especially when they feel thoughtful, intentional, and actually helpful.
And the timing couldn't be better because our holiday promo is running from December 8th to the 11th, and we're calling it the Season of Sets. So during that time, all of our sets are 20% off with code HOLIDAY2025.
That's amazing. The sets on our website are already a great deal because every day of the year they are 10% off what it would cost to buy the products they include individually. And each set comes with our half teaspoon mushroom measuring spoon, that's so cute, and a mushroom themed journal with a set of prompts to help you get started on a daily journaling practice. So just add a set to your cart, use code HOLIDAY2025, super simple. And if you're a real mushroom nerd like us, we've also brought back the Eversio collection. And that is the one that includes all 9 of our products.
Plus, if you're not sure which set to choose, whether it's for yourself or for someone you love, we created the easiest and cutest little quiz on our website that tells you exactly which one fits you or your person's needs.
Yeah, so if you've been wanting to try mushrooms or you want to give someone the gift of mushroom wellness this season, this is your sign.
Mark your calendar for December 8th, take the set quiz, and grab your holiday gift of wellness while they're 20% off.
Okay, let's get back to the episode. Weeks 2 and 3. So we're going to move on from there. And this is now a time to take those 3 products. So you take your turkey tail, your 5 mushroom blend, your reishi, put those lids on tight. If it's me, I'm going to put them in the fridge as I would with anything organic. And all of our products are organic certified. You're not going to see these products again for 3 weeks are going to go by before you need them. So, if you're taking 1 turkey tail capsule each day for, let's say, those 6 days of that phase, there were 60 capsules in there. That jar will actually last you for 10 months, but you're going to want to store it properly. So lids on nice and tight, store it away, and we're going to move on to something new. So let's dive into the next stage.
So the next stage, weeks 2 and 3, are kind of combined in the sense of the protocol stays the same with the 3 products. So now we're moving on to the Awaken set. So we think of this season as like spring and summer. In terms of the lunar cycle, this is the waxing moon as well as the full moon. And then for menstrual cycle, this is our follicular and ovulatory phase. So we've just come out of menstruating and now our hormones are starting to ramp up and then, trigger inflammation. So this is approximately day 7 to 18 in a woman's menstrual cycle. So for morning, afternoon, and evening, we start the morning with the 3 mushroom blend. So adding a half teaspoon of the 3 mushroom blend, you're awakening that creativity and confidence. You're putting it into your morning beverage, your breakfast. I put it in my smoothie every single morning
Yeah.
because it's an easy way to get all the things in. Genpeg calls it a vessel. You just throw it in. I know so many love to do that. And the cordyceps really in this blend is helping both fertility and libido for men and women by supporting balanced levels of progesterone and testosterone, as well as estrogen. So I know in this phase, there's not a lot of progesterone, there's more so estrogen, but it's really, getting things moving. And this is when we're more alive, right? Spring and summer, we're out doing more things. We're excited. There's more
Mhm.
energy. And then in the afternoon, that's where chaga comes into play. Chaga being a master antioxidant. So taking it in the afternoon as this natural way to help reduce inflammation after we've been out and about and all the things while we're more active during this phase. And then in the evening, taking lion's mane. So taking 2 lion's mane capsules. And lion's mane really can help with that estrogen as well as supporting mood and everything and rest as we're going into sleep there to heal during this phase. It's important because we're expending a lot of energy, and
Mhm.
its adaptogenic properties are really offering this stress, anxiety relief, and really helping with cognitive health.
Yeah, I love it. I think this was so hard for me when you were like, "And that's it for reishi. We're not taking any more
Yeah.
before bed." I was like, "Am I ever gonna sleep again? What do you mean I'm not taking reishi before bed?" It was so strange to have to give that up. I love lion's mane. Everybody knows it's no secret. It's my favorite, but I never had taken it at night. To
Mm.
me, it was I need to start my day with it and have it again in the afternoon. So to put lion's mane at night, we really had to look at the research, and we both love neuroscience. So it was so interesting to think of it differently because we know the brain is primed to learn things faster in this phase, in this stage of our life. And it so makes sense. The brain is doing so much of that work, like the garbage is being taken out at night from the brain when we sleep. And I just think it makes sense to really treat the brain well. Not that reishi doesn't treat the brain well, but there's nothing better than lion's mane. So to take 2 weeks out of your month and give yourself lion's mane at night, I just thought this was such a cool change up, and it didn't take me long to realize that my brain really loved it.
And then when we think of seed cycling again, same thing, days 1 to 14. This is really where we're adding in freshly ground flax seeds, pumpkin seeds, really supporting optimal estrogen levels. For movement, I mean, we're in this energy phase, like get sweaty and do some cardio, do some running, high intensity workout, strength training. Like this is really where you do it in these
Yeah.
weeks.
This is where I'm dancing in my kitchen every night.
You're dancing in your kitchen. And then for foods, we're focusing on light, colorful, fresh, vibrant foods. This is when certain foods that are fresh and vibrant, they are in season. So thinking cruciferous vegetables, we can have raw salads or cooler foods, probiotic rich foods, having some lean proteins, beans. I think of cilantro. I love cilantro, lemon water, and having lighter grains like quinoa. And it can be a good time as well for intermittent fasting,
Mhm.
just because of where we're at with our hormones. We're not in that luteal phase where that's typically pretty problematic for a lot of women. So
Mhm.
focusing on liver detoxification by adding in those cruciferous vegetables this time and really supporting the hormone flux really can help in that luteal phase as we ramp up to ovulation and then to transition.
Yeah, I love the comment about the intermittent fasting. So many people love to incorporate it. And I think, when it came out and it was this new thing, everybody just wanted to do it all the time. And for men, like my husband Craig was so into it and it was so beneficial for him. But when I realized I could do it sometimes, but definitely not during the menstrual phase. That's not a good time for women to be doing the fasting. But to bring it in this phase, now you're going to benefit from it like your husband or a male partner might be. So I love that the comment about intermittent fasting, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's not necessarily a great thing for women to do all year long, every single day, honoring it there. All right, so now we're at week 4, coming
Mhm.
into the home stretch, and we're going to meet a new capsule product here. So we launched my Talkie capsules recently in a capsule, and I love what they're going to bring into this last phase when you're going to really finish out. And I think this is where the body needs the most love, especially if you are a menstruating woman. So tell us about week 4.
So with week 4, this is the balance set and the season is autumn. So we're transitioning from summer into autumn. before we enter into winter, which is that menstrual phase, that bleeding phase. So the lunar cycle is the waning moon, and in terms of the menstrual cycle, it's that luteal phase, which is approximately days 19 to 28. So the three products in this phase here for this week are going to be cordyceps, maitake, and then the 4-mushroom blend. So in the morning, starting your day off with cordyceps extract just to provide that adaptogenic support, helping our body physiologically deal with stress. It's also more energizing as well. And a lot of women and individuals need that extra energy support in the luteal phase. So really mitigating that extra need for caffeine. I find for a lot of women, this is where they really are over caffeinating because their body is transitioning in this autumn phase and they feel like they need more energy. So supporting there. But not only cordyceps is also supportive of helping to manage and optimize hormone levels. So really making sure that as things do dip in this luteal phase with estrogen, that it maybe is more of a stable drop. And as progesterone's rising, then it is more of a gradual rise and coming out strong there. For the afternoon, this is where maitake extract capsules can come in, really supporting stable blood sugar levels and hormone balance. It can also help to maintain immune health right before that menstrual phase where typically, we kind of, our hormones drop down in terms of levels, and that's where we get sick. So that's something quite common. Maitake is like the metabolic mushroom. There's so much great research on it for stable blood sugar support. And then in the evening, supporting your wind down time with the 4-mushroom blend. So you can add a half teaspoon of it into whatever evening drink that you like. I personally like to have a peppermint tea, and I'll throw in some of the 4-mushroom blend. But keep in mind that because it does have reishi, and a high quality reishi that's a dual extract with those triterpenes, it can actually be quite bitter. I don't mind it because I like the earthy taste of herbs, but if you are somebody that isn't really inclined to that, just keep that in mind, maybe add a little less so it's not as bitter
Yeah,
for you.
absolutely. This was another big change for me because
Yeah.
all of a sudden I have to drink something at night,
Yeah.
which I was always capsules, reishi capsules, and then we moved to the lion's mane capsules, and then wait, what do you mean now I have to make a drink in the evening to be on this? And again, I'm such a creature of habit that the routine break for me, but I made this a ritual with my daughter, and we started making mushroom hot cocoa in the evening. We would just do almond milk with a bit of honey and cinnamon and vanilla and put the 4-mushroom blend in there, and it became kind of a ritual that I fell in love with, this time to slow down, because that is this season, right? We are cutting down on that busy schedule. We're coming into a time where we're coming inward again a little bit. And for me, when I'm stressed, I love to clean out a junk drawer. Like I just want to sort and organize. And that's this time for me. It's this time to kind of evaluate where everything's at. I might do some meal prep at this time. I'm for sure cleaning out my closet, and slowing down at night to sip that hot cocoa really allows you to go inside and start organizing yourself, whether that's inward or outward for what's coming, which is winter going to be coming right back around again. So there you go. We're at the end of the 4 weeks, and you have now used each of the 9 products in our line, but you've used them for a short period of time. So you're not finished with them. You're ready to go back and get those ones that you had sealed up tight and stored away, and you're starting again. You're really teaching your body to not do the same thing every day, because you're not the same every day. You're supporting it right where it's at. So what are you going to do with your seeds and your movement during this last phase as you finish out?
Yeah. So for seed cycling from day 15 to day 30, this is where you're getting into that second half of seed cycling. So you're changing up what you're incorporating there. You're having freshly ground sesame seeds and then sunflower seeds. And really, it's to support that progesterone production as well as getting some healthy fats there. For movement, we're thinking like slower strength training, maybe Pilates, bar. You could do intense yoga, but no cardio. This is a time where our body really doesn't want that high intensity HIIT type workout. For nutrition focus, you really want to focus on, again, nutrient dense foods, but more comforting foods. So think of like root vegetables and complex carbohydrates. Well, I think of spinach and chard and arugula. I love arugula.
I
Sweet. I love arugula.
Yes, you do.
Sweet potatoes, carrots, and then cilantro, super good too. And we're thinking with food, we're trying to support our body to get rid of that excess estrogen. And I think
Mm-hmm.
this is a big reason why women struggle in the luteal phase for a couple of reasons. One is because estrogen, there is excess estrogen. And so we need to be consuming adequate amounts of fiber because that's how our body detoxifies and gets rid of that excess estrogen. But
Mm-hmm.
the other fact of the matter is that not all women are ovulating.
Right.
And ovulation is important for women, whether you're trying to conceive or not. You need ovulation just because of the pathway in terms of hormones. You need the luteinizing hormone to really trigger ovulation. And that ovulation is really what helps to support progesterone and increase progesterone levels. So this is where women, maybe they have excess estrogen in this phase, but then they might have lower progesterone in this phase too. And that's kind of like a double whammy in the sense of the luteal phase. Like, it's totally dreaded. I see this all the time in clinical practice.
Yeah.
So certain supplements and foods that you're really looking to support are really targeting vitamin B. So your B vitamins, if you're taking it, making sure that it's a methylated B vitamin, and then magnesium as well.
And yeah, and I know you love your magnesium with your reishi. So it's such a nice thing to have that 4 mushroom blend with the
Yeah.
reishi in it in the evening and then taking your magnesium with it. Like there's no better 1-2 punch to
Hmm.
me than adding some magnesium to your reishi for that great sleep. And I think, the luteal phase is such a great topic for TikTok videos these days. Right?
Yeah.
Love to see the women using the excuse of being able to behave badly because of the luteal phase, but here's this beautiful way for you to not have to feel like that so that you can be the topic of all of those funny videos we see out there. And I'll just some final thoughts on this luteal phase, and I think it isn't something to joke about, right? Like, we do think of it as this funny thing because we're not feeling like ourselves. We might be a bit more grouchy and things, but evidence really suggests that a function of the immune system can fluctuate as we go through our menstrual cycle and as those progesterone and estrogen levels rise and fall. And this is really can have important implications for a person's susceptibility to illness, particularly where I was with an autoimmune condition. And as someone with an autoimmune condition that used a pharmaceutical to treat that, I got sick so often, but never as often as in the luteal phase. I just got everything. It didn't matter what was going around in the classroom at that time. I was getting it during this phase. So I think this is such an important time. If there's going to be 1 week of the month that you bring mushrooms in, let it be this one. And all women can do to support their own wellness during the luteal phases to take steps to do what you can to strengthen and modulate your immune system. And that's not just mushrooms, reducing your stress at this time, exercising, even though it's not hit, moving your body daily, eating really well, and getting that good quality sleep will mean you don't have to be the subject of those funny videos anymore. And all of those things are supported by including mushrooms. They're going to help you sleep better. They're going to help you move more. They're going to help you be more resilient to stress. And I think this is why I noticed such a difference, because I really wasn't paying attention to those things. So I'll just wrap it up by repeating that you're not going to take all 9 products every single day. You're going to use 3 products in a day, and you're going to take them in and out of your cupboard or your fridge if you're storing them there and cycle them through, meaning that if you have these 9 products, they're going to last you for at least 6 months, if not more, depending on the dose that you're taking. If you listened to Dr. Desiree today and you really heard one phase, that's the place where you want to improve, you don't have to have all 9 products. You maybe are doing what you do as your regular routine through week 1 when, you've got the menstrual phase down and you just need to rest, and you maybe stay home or you go to bed earlier and you're good there. But maybe it's weeks 2 and 3 where you're thinking, there's more in me, right? I could be more audacious. I could be more assertive. I could be getting more done if I was supported during that phase. And then that's where you're just going to go and bring in the awaken set, and that's the only one you need. And if you're someone who's listening, you're going, oh, luteal phase, that is me. That's where I am suffering. There's no need for it. Just bringing in that one set during that 1 week and seeing how it affects you. And if you notice change, that might be all that you need. So just remembering that the whole point of cyclical living with what we're offering you is to promote hormone balance, to bring you back into the rhythm you're meant to be. And your estrogen is meant to rise up and it's meant to come back down. Progesterone is meant to come in during the beginning of that luteal phase for the calming and to give you relief from all the things that women are struggling with, right? We hear it all day long. It is sleep, it is libido, it is mood, it is energy. So you really have nothing to lose by trying something different, trying something new. So I hope that some of you will join us as we come into the fall and get back into a cyclical living protocol and routine and try out some of the new products, the new mushrooms in there, and then let us know. We would love for you to reach out. You can comment right here. We're going to drop a link right here in the show notes of this episode to a document that you can download, and it will outline everything we just said. So you don't have to write it all down. It's all laid out, summarized there for you. So click the link and we'll send that out to you in an email. It's beautiful. And we'll just leave you with this thought that the best investment you can make is in yourself. And this is one way that we hope you will all invest in yourselves as these autumn and winter months come in and self-care becomes more important, I think, than it is when we're all out there in the summer months and playing and laughing and connecting a little more easily. We're going to start to come inward and it's going to get quieter and it's going to get darker and it's going to get colder. And making an investment in your self-care can go a long way for your resilience, for your physical health, for your mental health. So we're sending you so much love, and we can't wait to see you next time.
Be well, everyone.
Be well. We hope that you learned something new here today. If anyone you know could benefit from what we shared in this episode, please share it with them. And if you're interested in adding mushrooms to your life, then you can use code PODCAST15 to save 15% on your entire order at EversioWellness.com.
If you haven't yet left us a rating and review, subscribed to this podcast, or followed our social media accounts listed in the show notes, we would so appreciate that. And if you're not sure where to start, you can take our Mushroom Wellness quiz. Thank you so much for sharing this moment with us. Until next time, be well.